जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधार्विक गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर स्मत् भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर स्मत् भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर स्मत् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिष्मार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिष्मार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्रील गोक्षर स्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्ट श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुगौर्य गुरु वार्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल व्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय। श्री वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Okay, so let's begin Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne gauratvishe namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Oops, sorry. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadato sankirtanayakapitaro kamalayataksho Vishvambaro dijavaro yugadharmapalo Vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro Namastrikala satyaya jagannatha sutaya cha Sabhrityaya saputraya सकलत्राय ते नमः। जय 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 विश्वम्भर द्विजराज जय विश्वम्भर प्रिय वैष्णव समाज गौरचंद्र जय धर्म सेतु महाधीर जय संकीर्तनमय सुंदर शरीर जय नित्यानंदेर बांधव धन प्राण Jaya Gadadhar Advaitar Prem Dham. Jaya Shri Jagadananda Priya Atishay. Jaya Vakreshwar Kashishwarer Hriday. Jai Shivasadi Priya Varganath. Jiva Pratikara Prabhu Shubha Drishtipat. Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Jeno Amriter Khanda. Jai Shunile Ghuche. Jai Katha Shunile Ghuche Antar Pashanda. Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Bhai Shuno Ekachite. Sankirtana Aramba Hoilo Jeno Mate. Oh, dear brothers, please hear attentively the topics of Madhya-khaṇḍa, wherein the inauguration of the Sankirtan pastimes is described. Tavaivasmi, na jivami, tvaya vina, iti vigyaya radhe tvam, devi tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshaya, क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितराङ्कमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Ore mura lok shuno Chaitanya Mangal. Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal. Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas. Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das. Vrindavana Das Koilo Chaitanya Mangal. Jahara Shravane Nashi Sarvaya Mangal. Chaitanya Nitair Jate Jani Mahima. Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima. Bhagavate Jatta Bhakti Siddhanter Sar. Likhiya Cheniha Jani Koriya Udhar. Chaitanya Mangal Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan. Sheho Maha Vaishnava Hoy Tatakhan. Manushe Rachite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya. Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Vakta Shri Chaitanya. Vrindavana Dasa Pade Koti Namaskar. Aiche Granta Korite Ho Tarila Sangsar. Narayani Chaitanya Uchishta Bhajan. Tar Garbhe Janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan. तार की अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन जहाँ श्रवणे शुद्ध कोयल त्रिभुवन सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृतेर धार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृतेर धार. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, the Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, jai Swaparshad Shri Gaur Hari ki jai. Okay, so today we are beginning chapter 3. The Lord manifests his Varāha form in the house of Murāri. That's what we're going to be reading about today. And then tomorrow we'll be reading about the meeting with Nityananda Prabhu. 1 second. Okay. Oh, and let's see who's here. Dandavat Pranams, Kishore Prabhu, Hare Krishna. And then I see Ganga Mataji and Rup Manjari Didi, Nitai. Oh, and Rasaraj Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams Prabhu, and Janardan Prabhu. And Surevi Didi, Hare Krishna Surevi Didi. Oh, shoot. I forgot to send. Anyways, I'll do that later. There's a beautiful painting of this Leela of which Leela? Of Mahaprabhu appearing in manifesting in the house of Murari, or Mahaprabhu meeting with Nityananda Prabhu. And if you share it with me on WhatsApp, then I can show it to everybody. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Let's begin. Jai Nitai Jai Varahadev. Okay. So now we're beginning with the Katha Sar by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. This chapter describes the Lord's ecstatic mood, the Lord's manifestation of his Varāha form in the house of Murāri Gupta, Murari's prayers to this form of the Lord, the characteristic, and that's what we'll be reading about today. And then tomorrow we'll be reading about the characteristics of Śrī Nityananda, Nityananda's arrival in Navadvip at the house of Nandanacharya, the Lord's description of his wonderful dream to the devotees, the Lord's demands for wine in the mood of Baladev, the Lord's arrival at the house of Nandanacharya in the company of his devotees, the Lord's meeting with Nityananda, and the Lord's various devices for revealing the glories of Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sarva Prananatha Vishwambhar Jaya Nityananda Gadadharir Ishwar. All glories to Vishwambar, the beloved Lord of all. All glories to the Lord of Nityananda and Gadadhar. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Vishwambar is the supreme. Oh, wait, let's see. Okay, thanks, Janardhan Prabhu. When we get to the Leela, like when we get to the spot, I'll share this photo. Thanks. Vishwambar is the supreme lord of all living entities. He is also the lord of Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar. Let his glories be perpetually spread throughout the world. Jaya Jaya Advaitadi Bhaktir Adhin Bhakti Dane Diya Prabhu Udharaho Din. All glories to the Lord, who is controlled by his devotees, headed by Advaita. O Lord, please award me your devotional service and deliver this humble servant. Gaudiya Bhashya. I, Vrindavan Das, am extremely fallen. O Lord Vishwambar, please awaken my propensity for service and deliver me from the propensity for material enjoyment. Your servants, headed by Sri Advaita, have conquered you through devotional service. All glories unto you again and again. Emata Navadvipe Gauranga Sundar Bhakti Shuke Bhashe Loy Sarva Parikar. In this way, Sri Gaurasundar floated in the ocean of devotional happiness in the company of his associates. Pranahino Shakal Sevaka Apanar Krishna Boli Kande Gala Dhoriya Sabar. All the Lord's servants were like his very life. He cried while holding their necks and chanting the name of Krishna. When it says holding their necks, Gala Dhora, it means like embracing them, as far as I know. Gaudiya Bhashya. Gaurasundar, the supreme lord and life of all living entities, considered his devotees as most intimately related with him, and he would hold their necks and cry due to feelings of separation from Krishna. Dekhiya Prabhur Prem, Sarvadasagan, Chaturdike Prabhu Vedi Koroye Krandan. On seeing the Lord's love, all the devotees surrounding the Lord cried. Gaudiya Bhashya. When all the devotees saw the Lord's ecstatic love, they also became filled with ecstasy and cried on all sides of him. Achukta sir karja she prem dekhite, shushka kashta pashanadi milai bhumite. By the sight of his love, even dry wood and stone melted. What to speak of his servants? Gaudiya Bhashya. In dry wood, there is no tinge of water. The same is true of stone. Yet, by the manifestation of Gaurasundar's love, even hearts that were as dry as wood and as hard as stone became flooded with love. As a result of their service, all his servants became absorbed in love of God. Even inanimate objects that were incapable of seeing his love melted. Stones melted, and like that. What's another inanimate? Trees. From trees, sap would ooze, right? That's like the trees melting. Chari dhana putra griha sarva bhakta gan ahar nisha prabhu sange koren kirtan. All the devotees left aside their wealth, children, and household, and they engaged day and night in kirtan with the Lord. Gaudiya Bhashya. All the Lord's servants gave up attachment for their houses, children, and wealth, and constantly engaged in kirtan with the Lord. Hoilen Gaura Chandra Krishna Bhakti Moy, Jokhon je rup shune she mata hoy, Dasya bhave Prabhu jabe koren rodan, Hoilo prahar dui Ganga agaman. जबे हासे तबे प्रभु प्रहरे कहासे मूर्छित होइले प्रहरे कनाहि श्वासे क्षणे होय स्वानुभाव दम्भ करि बैसे मुइसे मुइसे इहा बोली हासे कोथा गेलो नाडा बुड़ा जया नील मोरे বিলাইমু ভক্তি রস প্রতি ঘরে ঘরে সেই ক্ষণে কৃষ্ণরে পাপরে বলি খান্দে আপনার কেশ আপনার পায়ে বাঁধে অক্রূর জানের শ্লোক পড়িয়া পড়িয়া ক্ষণে পড়ে পৃথিবীতে দণ্ডবত হইয়া। One second. হইলেন মহাপ্রভু যে হেন অক্রূর সেই মতো কথা কহে বাহিয়া গেল দূর। মথুরায় চলো নন্দ রামকৃষ্ণে লইয়া ধনুর্মুখ রাজ মহোৎসব দেখি গিয়া। এই মতো নানা ভাবে নানা কথা কয় দেখিয়া বৈষ্ণব সব আনন্দে ভাসায়। Gaurachandra became filled with devotion to Krishna. Whenever the Lord heard any topic about Krishna, he was immediately influenced by that. When the Lord cried for 6 hours in the mood of a servant, it appeared that the Ganga was flowing from his eyes. When he laughed for 3 hours. When he lost consciousness, he would not breathe for 3 hours. Sometimes he would proudly manifest his opulence, laugh, and say, Muishe, 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 I am he, I am he. Where is that old Nada who brought me here? I will distribute the sweet nectar of devotional service to each and every house. At that time, he would cry and say, Oh Krishna, oh my dear, Bapare. 1 second. Yeah. Then he would wind his hair around his feet. Sometimes he would recite verses in the mood of Akrura and offer obeisances by falling like a rod to the ground. While fully absorbed in the mood of Akrura, Mahaprabhu lost all external consciousness and said, O Nanda, let us go to Mathura with Balaram and Krishna to see the royal festival of the bow sacrifice. When the Vaishnavas saw the Lord speaking in these various moods, they floated in the waves of ecstasy. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Haribo Vrinda Didi. Being fully absorbed in the service of Krishna, whenever Gaurasundar heard about Krishna's pastimes from his devotees, he immediately became absorbed in those pastimes and displayed the respective mood. He would sometimes become absorbed in the mood of a servant and shed tears for 6 hours like the flowing of the Ganga. Sometimes he would remain intoxicated by laughing for as long as 3 hours. Sometimes he would remain unconscious, holding his breath for 3 hours. Sometimes he would smile, proudly manifest his opulence, and exclaim, I am he. If Lord Gaurasundar reveals himself as God to people, there is no deviation from the truth. But if demoniac offenders try to ruin themselves by accepting the statement, everyone is God, then they will never be benefited. Although in his Gaur pastimes, Lord Krishna accepted the mood of a devotee and acted as a servant by uncovering the good fortune of the living entities, he nevertheless bewildered many demoniac atheists and impersonalists by uttering statements befitting the Mayavadis. Gaur Hari sometimes said, Where has that old Advaita Acharya gone? After bringing me to this world from Vaikuntha, he has left me behind. Simply by his desire, I will distribute devotional mellows to each and every house. Speaking in this way, Gaurasundar wrapped his long curly hair around his feet. Sometimes he cried while loudly addressing Krishna. Oh Krishna, oh Bap, oh Somya, oh Priya. Sometimes he lost all external consciousness and spoke in the mood of Akrura when he came to Vraj to take Krishna. He'd say, Oh Nanda, let us take Ram and Krishna to Mathura, where we can see all the where we can all see the festival called the Dhanur Yagya. See Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapters 39 and 42. Sometimes he fell like a rod to offer obeisances on the ground. The devotees became ecstatic on seeing these characteristics. The phrase Dhanur Makha, verse 16, refers to the Dhanur Yagya, or bow sacrifice. See 10th Canto, chapter 42. Ekadina Varaha Bhaver Shloka Shuni Korjiya Murāri Ghare Cholila Apani. One day, when the Lord heard a verse glorifying Varaha, he roared loudly and went to the house of Murari. Okay, I'll share the picture that Janardhan sent in a second, soon. Antare Murāri Gupta prati boro prem, Hanuman prati Prabhu Ramachandra Jeno, Murarir ghare gela Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, Sambhrame korila Gupta charana vandan. The Lord was greatly affectionate to Murari, just as Lord Ramachandra was affectionate to Hanuman. As Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata entered the house of Murari, Murari immediately offered him obeisances. Gaudiya Bhashya. Just as Sri Ramachandra exhibited heartfelt affection for Hanuman, Mahaprabhu treated Murari as an object of great love. On hearing descriptions of Varaha one day, the Lord became absorbed in the mood of Varaha and went to the house of Murāri while roaring loudly. Shukar, shukar boli Prabhu chali jai, stambhita Murāri Gupta chaturdike chai. Vishnu grihe prabishta hoila Vishvambhar, sammukhe dekhen jal bhajan sundar. Varaha akar Prabhu hoila shekhane, swanubhave gadu Prabhu tulila dashane. Garje jagya Varaha prakashe khurachari, Prabhu bole mor stuti koroho Murari. Mor stuti koroho Murari. As the Lord entered the house of Murari, he called out, shukar, shukar, bor, bor. Murari Gupta was astounded and looked all around. Vishvambar then entered the Vishnu temple, wherein he saw a beautiful water pot with a spout. The Lord immediately assumes the form of Varaha by his own sweet will, and by his own sweet will, picked up the water pot with his teeth. In his form as Varaha, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices grunted and manifested 4 hooves. Then the Lord ordered, Murari, offer prayers to me. Okay, so let's see the picture that Janardhan sent of this lila. One second, just opening it. Save to downloads. Okay, here. Second. Downloads, there it is. Okay, let's zoom in. Okay, so there's Mahaprabhu, and then he manifests the form of a boar carrying a water pot on his tusks. Jai, Lord Varahadev ki Jai. There's Murari. Okay. Thanks, Janardhan. Yeah, if, any time, if like while I'm reading, if anybody ever has pictures accompanying the Leela, please send it and I'll share the photo. Hey, Murari, offer prayers to me. Gaudiya Bhashya. Gaur Hari suddenly rushed towards Murari's house, where he entered the Vishnu temple calling out, Bor, Bor. On hearing the sudden roaring and the words, Shukar, Shukar, from Gaur Sundar, Murari could not understand what was happening. When the Lord saw a large water pot within the Vishnu temple, he picked it up with his teeth. At that time, Murari saw the Lord roaring in his form as a 4-legged boar, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Varahadev is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So for Lord Gaur Sundar to display the form of his Varaha incarnation to his appropriate devotees was proper. A Mayavadi should not misunderstand from this that when a conditioned soul is freed from ignorance, he is able to exhibit such moods of the Supreme Lord in imitation of the Lord. To disrespect those deceitful, hellish persons who are cheated in this way by considering themselves Vishnu, the Lord personally exhibited these pastimes for their bewilderment. Yeah, you think you're Vishnu? Can you do that? Can you become a big boar? The eternally averse atheists fall into illusion by imitating the Lord's activities without understanding the Lord's characteristics. Thus, they bring havoc into this world by arranging for some duplicitous people to honor them in such a way that the painful conditions of hellish life, which are suitable rewards for such envious people, await them with miseries for unlimited years to come. The covered incarnation, Śrī Gaurasundar, kept his own identity secret, even from his devotees. If an abominable conditioned soul who is eligible for suffering unlimited years of hellish life and who daily undergoes 3 conditions of life, if that person considers the Supreme Lord to be a living entity like himself and makes special endeavors to be honored to be honored by his cheated followers, then such a cheater and the cheated lose their qualification to be called human beings. They're no longer human beings. And due to the absence of four legs, like a stool-eating boar, they become two-legged animals. They're not even four-legged animals. They're two-legged animals. Such two-legged animals can never exhibit four legs. In some future life, however, they will become four-legged, stool-eating animals. Śrī Caitanya-dev exhibited the four legs of his Varāha incarnation. And if an insignificant living entity tries to imitate his pastimes, it is simply ludicrous. Kishore Krishna says, how did Hiranyaksha die? He was bored to death. That sounds like a Brajendra Nandan Prabhu joke. They can only become a big boar. He didn't just become a big boar, he became a big, beautiful boar. Exactly. Yes. Okay. Stabda hoila Murāri apurva darashane ki bolibe Murāri na aise badane. Seeing this unprecedented sight, Murāri became stunned. He was unable to find any words to speak. Prabhu bole, bolo bolo kichu bhoy nai. Eto din nahi jano mui ei thai. The Lord said, Bolo, bolo, speak up. Do not be afraid. Kichu bhoy nai. All these days you did not know that I am here. Kampita Murāri kohe koriya minati. Tumi she jano ho Prabhu, tomar je stuti. And we remember all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu with Murāri before, when Mahaprabhu was challenging him to debate all the time. And, he's had a relationship with Mahaprabhu his whole life. Like this kind of, now all of a sudden, for the first time, the Lord's manifesting himself to him. You can't even imagine the shock. Murāri trembled and humbly spoke, "Oh Lord, only you know your glories." Gaudiya Bhashya. On seeing the Varaha form of the Lord, Murāri Gupta trembled out of fear and spoke as follows: "O Lord, I am incapable of properly offering you prayers. Only you yourself can do so." When Murāri became hesitant to offer prayers, and especially when he became frightened on seeing the Lord's gigantic Varaha form, the Lord told him that he had no cause of fear. "For so many days you did not know who I am. Actually, I am the fountainhead of all Vishnu incarnations." When topics of the Lord's exhibition of these pastimes were made known to this in this world, everyone understood that Śrī Gaurasundar was the Supreme Lord. Although the Lord brought these pastimes into the world through the vision of his associate devotees, even those with firm faith in the Lord's associates could understand that Śrī Caitanya is none different from Krishna, and he is the source of all incarnations. And they recorded these pastimes of the Lord for the benefit of their descendants, like myself. Vaishnavas inclined to the service of the Lord can properly describe topics of their worshipable object. Poets, writers, and literateurs, I don't know if I'm saying that word right. Anyways, it's a person who is interested in and knowledgeable about literature. Those poets, writers, and literatures attached to material enjoyment can never properly describe the characteristics of the Supreme Lord. The mundane philosopher's material conceptions under the influence of the three modes of material nature will never be able to comprehend the transcendental prowess of Śrī Gaurasundar. Because of their offensive nature, they are averse to the service of the Lord. And because they are bereft of proper association with saintly persons, they display pride and foolishness. Thus, they simply commit offenses at the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya. But fortunate devotees attached to the service of the Lord can easily understand the transcendental prowess of the Lord and gain freedom from the clutches of material conceptions. Because of their offensive nature, the materialists, in the course of their speculations, are unable to realize the true meaning of the word adhokshaj, or that which transcends the limits of sense perception. They accept adhokshaj Śrī Caitanya-dev as a conditioned soul prone to material enjoyment. As a result, they are bound to eventually consider Śrī Gurudev, who is most dear to Śrī Caitanya, as a mortal being and create differences of opinion in order to exhibit their envy of the Vaishnavas. Janardhan Prabhu, yes, we did hear that pastime. Kishore read it. Kishore read that to us. Very interesting one. Kind of shocking, actually. Okay, verses 28 to 29. Ananta Brahmanda Jar. Wait, so Murāri said, "Oh Lord, only you know your glories." And then Ananta Brahmanda Jar Ekaphane Dhare Sahasra Badana Hoy Jare Stuti Kore Tabu Nahi Pai Anta She Prabhu Koi Tomar Stavete Ar Ke Samartha Hoy. Murari continued, Lord Ananta, who holds unlimited universes on one of his hoods, constantly glorifies you with his thousand mouths. Yet he himself admits that he has not reached the end. Therefore, who else is capable of glorifying you? Gaudiya Bhashya. Murari said, the gigantic universes are heavy and innumerable. The thousand-headed Ananta properly glorifies you with his 1,000 tongues, yet he does not find satiation. He holds innumerable universes on top of his one hood, so no one is able to surpass Anantadev in properly glorifying you. Je veder matta kore shakal sangsar, she veda sarva tattva na jane tomar. Even the Vedas, whose injunctions are followed by all, are unable to know you in full. Gaudiya Bhashya. Following the injunctions of the Vedas, the people of the world live together in a civilized manner. Yet these Vedas are also unable to describe your glories in full. Jata deki shuni prabhu ananta bhuvan, tor loma kupe giya milai jokhon. O Lord, the unlimited universes that we see or hear about are all absorbed, they are all absorbed within the pores of your hairs. Gaudiya Bhashya, the universes are innumerable, are unlimited. These innumerable universes are all situated within the pores of your bodily hairs. Heno sadananda tumi je koro jokhone, bolo deki vede taha janibe kemone. You are always full of bliss in whatever you do. So how can the Vedas know your activities? Gaudiya Bhashya. O eternally blissful Vishvambar, how will the limited Vedas know the topics of your variegated pastimes that you manifest at various times? The Vedas are one means of vision for living entities endowed with material knowledge and conditioned by the 3 modes of material nature. Yet, they are unable to describe the transcendental topics of Vaikuntha. Vedic literatures do not impart the supreme absolute truth, which is easily achieved by devotees, to persons who are expert in karma-khaṇḍa and jnana-khaṇḍa and engaged in materialistic pursuits. Ataiva tumi she tomare jano matra Tumi janaile jane tor kripa patra. Therefore, only you know yourself. Others can know you only if you reveal yourself to them. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.932, it is stated, Yavan aham yata bhavo yadrupa gunakarmaka tatayava tattva vijnanam astute mar anugrahat. All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. Even if a conditioned soul lives in the abode of the Lord, his ignorance about the prowess of the Lord is not vanquished. Only those who are favored by the Lord can understand all these topics. This is confirmed in the following words. Yam evaisha vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanung svam. The Lord is obtained only by one who he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. Tomar stutiye mor kon adhikar, eto boli kande gupta kore namaskar. What qualification do I have to offer you prayers? Speaking in this way, Murāri Gupta cried and offered obeisances to the Lord. Gupta Vakye tushta hoila, Varāha Ishvar. Veda prati krodha kori, boloye uttar. Lord Varaha was pleased with the statements of Murāri Gupta. Displaying anger towards the Vedas, he spoke as follows. Gaudiya Bhashya. In order to deceive persons endowed with material knowledge and desirous of liberation, the Vedas manifest for them the agya rudhi of words, or the conventional meaning of words according to the unenlightened. Since the materialistic Mayavadis study the Vedas through the ascending process, and the Vedic literatures encourage them in that way, the Lord's anger towards the bewildering potency of the Vedas is a prime example of jive doya, or compassion on the living entities. Actually, there's no possibility of the Lord becoming angry with the Vedas, for they are engaged in his service. Therefore, his anger is aimed at the inauspiciousness of persons who study the Vedas from the impersonal point of view. Hastapada mukhamor nahi kolochan, e mata vede more kore vidamban. The Vedas mock me by accusing me of having no hands, legs, mouth, or eyes. Gaudiya Bhashya. The impersonalists are unable to understand the eternal form of the Supreme Lord, and they accuse him on the basis of the Vedas as having material hands, legs, mouth, etc. Thus, they consider that the Supreme has neither form nor pastimes. But if one accepts vidva durudi, the conventional meaning of words according to enlightened persons, if one accepts vidva durudi for understanding the meaning of a word, then it is clearly understood that the Supreme Lord possesses spiritual hands, legs, mouth, and eyes, rather than material hands, legs, mouth, and eyes. This is confirmed in the Vedas, in the Shvetashvatar Upanishad 3.19 as follows. Apani paro javano grihita pashyatya chakshu sa shrinotyakaran. Says, although the Supreme Lord has no hands and legs, he nonetheless accepts all sacrificial offerings. Although he has no eyes, he sees everything. And although he has no ears, he hears everything. In order to exhibit compassion on those who cannot understand the actual purpose of the Vedas and who are bewildered as a result, Sri Gaur Hari did not respect such persons' understanding of the Vedas. Oh, Hari Bol, Nri Hari Prabhu, and Bhavatarani Mataji, and Shubhananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Mahaprabhu in the form of Varaha continues. Kashite porai beta prakasha ananda she beta kore mor anga khanda khanda. There is one wretch in Kashi named Prakashananda who cuts my body to pieces while teaching the Vedas. Gaudiya Bhashya. An impersonalist sannyasi professor named Prakashananda cuts my eternal transcendental limbs to pieces in his explanation of the Vedas. Some people mistakenly consider that Prakashananda was none other than Prabodhananda, the younger brother of Venkatapata, who lived on the bank of the Kaveri. Since such mistakes are found in the Sahajya book named Bhaktamala, the same mistake is also often found among modern writers. Srivas is working on translating a very, very, very long article on this topic, which will be included in the book Prabandha Panchakam. Vakanaye Vedamor Vigraha Namane Sarva Ange Hoila Kushta Tabu Nahi Jane. He explains the Vedas, but does not accept my form. His entire body is afflicted with leprosy, yet he does not come to his senses. Gaudiya Bhashya. Although Prakashananda explains the Upanishads and other Vedic literatures, he does not accept the eternal existence of the Lord's spiritual form. As a result, he became an offender, and his entire body was afflicted with leprosy. Still, his knowledge has not awakened. Sarva jagya moy mor je anga pavitra, aja bhava adi gai jahar charitra. My pure body is the personification of all sacrifices. Personalities such as Brahma and Shiva glorify its characteristics. Gaudiya Bhashya. I am Vishnu, the Lord of all sacrifices, so there is no possibility of attributing any kind of impurity or fault on my spiritual body. My characteristics are the object of glorification for personalities like Brahma and Shiva. That the Lord is the personification of all sacrifices is described in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 271. Kroddim tanum shakala jagyam mayam ananta, and in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 3:13, verses 32 to 44. Punya pavitrata pai je anga parashe, taha mithya bole beta kemon sahase. By the touch of my body, purity is sanctified. So how can that wretch say that my body is false? Gaudiya Bhashya. The body of the Supreme Lord is eternal. Therefore, unpleasantness, insignificance, abomination, and division cannot be attributed to it. The touch of such supremely pure limbs of the Lord greatly purifies less purified objects. Therefore, I cannot understand how he dares to establish such an eternal body as temporary. Shunoho Murāri Gupta kohi matashar, Veda guhya kohi e tomar gochar. O Murāri Gupta, listen as I tell you the essence of all doctrines. I will disclose the confidential purport of the Vedas to you. Ami Jagya Varāha Shakal Vedasar, Ami She Kurino Purve Prithvi Udhar. I am Varaha, the enjoyer of all sacrifices and the essence of the Vedas. It was I who previously delivered the earth. Gaudiya Bhashya. I previously took the form of Varāha, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and delivered the earth, which was devoid of Vedic knowledge, from the waters of material knowledge. Therefore, I am the essence of all the Vedas. Sankirtana arambe moharavatar, bhakta jana lagi dushta korimu sanghar. I have incarnated to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. I will destroy the miscreants for the sake of my devotees. Gaudiya Bhashya. Before the inauguration of Sankirtan, I bewildered the entire world as an ordinary dwarf who is forced to accept the fruits of his karma. But to propagate the Sankirtan movement, I have descended to this world from Vaikuntha. I have already made this known to everyone. The reason for my appearance here is that envious demons constantly place various obstacles in the spiritual progress of my devotees. To protect the devotees from such impediments, I will destroy those envious elements. Shevaker drohamui sohite na paro, putra jadi hoy mor tathapi sangharo. Oops. Putra koto, oops. Putra koton apanar sevaka lagiya mithya nahi kohi gupta shuno man diya. I cannot tolerate the oppression of my devotees. I kill the oppressor, even if he is my own son. I cut down my son. I cut down my own son for the sake of my servant. I am not telling a lie. O Gupta, listen attentively. Gaudiya Bhashya. I can never tolerate the behavior of persons who are envious of my devotees. If even one of my sons becomes envious of my devotees, I am also prepared to kill that dear son. What to speak of this? For the sake of my devotees, I am ready to cut my own son into pieces. I am telling you the actual truth. This is not an exaggeration. Jai kale kurino mui prithvi udhar, hoye lok shitir karva parshe amar. When I was delivering the earth, she became pregnant by my touch. Gaudiya Bhashya. When I picked up the earth, which was submerged in water, she became pregnant from my touch. The earth statement in the Vishnu Puran, which is quoted in the Vaishnav Toshini commentary of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 10:38, confirms this as follows. Architam punar ityaha narayana jagatpate atmanandena purnasya karavani kim alpaka. O Lord, when you delivered me in your boar incarnation, I gave birth to a son as a result of your touch. Okay, Kishore Prabhu, sorry I didn't see your comment before. But yeah, that book Bhaktamala is not very authorized. Okay. So, Oilo naraka name putra mahabal, apane putrere dharma kohilo shakal. I begot a powerful son named Naraka, and I personally instructed him on religious principles. Gaudiya Bhashya. As a result of my touch, a most powerful son named Naraka was born. I instructed him about religious principles. Maharaja hoilen amar nandan, deva dvija guru bhakta koren palan. My son became a great king, and he properly maintains the demigods, the twice-born, the gurus, and the devotees. Daiva doshe tahar hoilo dushta sanga, baner sangsarge hoilo bhakta drohe ranga. By providence, he fell into bad association with Bana and began to take pleasure in oppressing the devotees. Gaudiya Bhashya. Although by my instructions his life was pure for some time, by the bad association of King Bana in the course of time, he developed an interest in oppressing the devotees. Shevaker hingsamui na paro sahite, katino apana putra shevaka rakhite. I cannot tolerate the oppression of my servants, so I cut down my own son to protect my servants. Gaudiya Bhashya. I can never tolerate any kind of envy or hatred directed towards my beloved servants. That is why I took the side of my devotees and even cut down my own son. Janame janame tumi sebi acho more, eteko shakal tatva kohilo tomare. You have served me birth after birth. Therefore, I have disclosed these truths to you. Shuniya Murāri Gupta Prabhur Vachan Vivala Hoya Gupta Koren Krandan. On hearing the Lord's words, Murāri Gupta became overwhelmed and began to cry. Murāri Sahita Gora Chandra Jai 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 Jagya Varaha Seva Korakhamoy. Sheva Korakhamoy. All glories to Gaura Chandra in the association of Murari. All glories to Varaha, the Lord of sacrifice and the protector of his devotees. Gaudiya Bhashya, sorry about that. All glories to Varaha, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, who protects the devotees. And all glories to Gaura Chandra in the company of Murari. E mata sarva seva ker ghare ghare, kripal thakur janayena apnare. In this way, the Lord revealed himself to all his servants at each of their houses. Okay, so this is just one example. Chiniya shakal bhritya prabhur apnar, parananda moy chitta hoilo shabar. When the servants recognized their Lord, their hearts became filled with bliss. Pashandire ar keho bhoy nahi kore, hate ghate shabe Krishna gai ucha sware. Then they no longer feared the atheists, and they freely and loudly chanted the names of Krishna at all public places. Gaudiya Bhashya. When Gaur Hari manifested his real identity to the devotees, they all abandoned their various material inconveniences and merged in spiritual bliss. Therefore, these devotees constantly and loudly chanted the names of Krishna everywhere without fear of the royal punishment threatened by the atheist. Prabhu Shange Miliya Shakal Bhaktagan Mahanande Aharnisha Koroye Kirtan. In the company of the Lord, all the devotees happily engaged day and night in chanting the holy names. Milila Shakal Bhakta Boy Nityananda Bhai na Dekhiya Boro Dukhi Gora Chandra. All the devotees assembled together except Nityananda. Gaurachandra became unhappy on not seeing his brother. Okay, so what verse are we reading up to? 59, okay. Gaudiya Bhashya. When Gaurasundar saw that all the devotees participated in the blissful kirtan pastimes except Nityananda, he became especially unhappy in separation from Nityananda. Nirantar Nityananda smare Vishvambar, Jani len Nityananda, Ananta Ishvar. Vishvambar constantly remembered Nityananda, and Nityananda, who is non-different from Ananta, could understand this. Gaudiya Bhashyam. In the absence of Nityananda, Vishvambar constantly thought of him and realized his original position. Mahaprabhu knew Sri Nityananda as the Supreme Lord, Ananta Vasudeva. In this connection, please hear the narrations regarding Nityananda. I will briefly describe his birth and activities in the form of codes. Sutra rupe, in a synopsis, in the form of a synopsis. All right, so we will read about that tomorrow. Tomorrow will be all about Nityananda Prabhu, his birth, characteristics, and coming to the house of Nandan Acharya, right? Yes. So usually we end half an hour later than now, but I have a lot to do today, so I think it's good if we end early today. So oh, and Janardhan Prabhu shared some more pictures. Let's see. Let's download. 1 second. Just downloading them here. So this is Murāri Gupta's Gornitai Thakurji. Wow, so sweet. So beautiful, huh? I love this Navadip style, like Nadia style vigrahas. So sweet.
Her hands are like that because the mudras are of Ram and Lakshman.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep.
Holding the
Cool.
bow and arrow.
Yeah. Okay. And then here's another picture. Let's see. Where is it? What the heck? Sorry, it's not coming up for some reason. 1 second. Okay. This is Shri Ram, Sita Lakshman, Hanuman at Shri Murāri Gupta's house in Mayapur. Yeah, on Hanuman Jayanti, Srivas, I think Chandrasekhar, Nandakishore, a few of us, we went to Murāri Gupta's house there near Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, and we sang the Ramachandrashtakam written by Murāri Gupta there on Hanuman Jayanti. Those are his deities, Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman. We're going to include that song in the songbook now, in this upcoming songbook, the Ramachandrashtakam written by Murāri Gupta. We'll have at least one thing for Ramachandra in the songbook. All right, so I'll do Mahamantra, or maybe shall we sing the Ramachandrashtakam? I think there's a little bit of time for that. Actually, there's so much about Murāri Gupta. We'll have better opportunities to sing that song, like in relation to Ram's Leela. So, okay, I'll just do Mahamantra and we'll end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Kishore Prabhu, would you like to do Jaidvani?
जय सुप्रकार श्री श्री गुरु गौरंग कन्हर विका गिरिधरि राधा विनोद बिहरि राधा नयनाथ राधा रमन बिहरि राधा माधव शिशि राधा ब्रज बिहारी जीव की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपनाथ मदन मोहन जीव की जय। जय नित्यालेल प्रविष्णु विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रियव्रजचार्य वर्यस्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोस्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। जय नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रियव्रजचार्य वर्यस्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिवेदांत शलनारायण गोस्वामी महाराज परिपावन गुरुदेव की जय। जय नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति बल तीर्थ गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जय नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जय नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिवेदांत त्रिविक्रम गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जय नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान गुरुगुण स्वामी महाराज की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति वैभाव पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिद्वैतमाद गोस्वामी परम गुरु महाराज की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज परम गुरुदेव की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान जगद्गुरु श्री भक्ति जगद्गुरु श्री वर्षभानाभि द्वैतरास शल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। जय स्वप्रकाश शिल प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर महाशय की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद महापरम भगवत परवार परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शिशुमान गौर किशोरदास पक्षी महाराज की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद सप्तम गोस्वामी अष्टोत्तर शिशुमात सुचिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर महाशय की जय। नत्यालेल प्रविष्टुं विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सर्वम अष्टोत्तर शिशुमात जगन्नाथ बाबूजी महाशय की जय। सूर्यकुंदवासी सुरशल सुंदस बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री उर्वदास उदरान दास की जय। करविदान आचार्य शिशुमान बलिदेव विभूषण प्रभु की जय। महामहोपध्याय रसकृष्ण रमणेश्वर विष्णु चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर पार की जय। श्री शिल रसकानंद मुरारी प्रभु की जय। जय श्री शिल रामचंद्र कविराज की जय। श्री लोचन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु त्राय की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। यश अवतार अफ्रीका विशल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री मुरारी गुप्त की जय। श्री दमदार पंडित की जय। जय श्री अष्टकविराज वसुरजान नित्यानंद दर्श गोपाल श्री चौषति महंत की जय। जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टरास रघुनाथ सर गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर यनमानंद लोकनाथ गौरव आदि गौर परिषाद वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। शील ईश्वर परिपार की जय। श्री शील माधवेंद्र परिपार की जय। श्री अंतर्द्वीप मायपुर समन्वीप गोत्रम श्री अंतर्द्वीप मायपुर समन्वीप गोत्रम दीप मध्य दीप कुलदीप ऋतुदीप जानदीप माधुर द्रुमादीप रुद्रदीप मखा श्री नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री एक चक्र धाम की जय। श्री शांतिपुर धाम की जय। श्री मुरारी गुप्त श्रीपाद की जय। जय श्री सचिदानंद गौर हरि की जय। श्री श्री गौर गदाधर की जय। श्री श्री गौर नित्यानंद की जय। जय गदाय गौरंग की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ गोपी कपाल गिर गोवर्धन शरवन माक श्री ब्रज मंडल धाम की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गंग सखी आम्र सुखी तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय। वृषभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा रानी ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री ललिता विशाखा चित्र चमकल तुंग विदे इंदुलेख रंग देवी सुरेवी अरि सखी वृंद की जय। श्री आनंद प्रेम जला श्री रूप लवंग राग बिलस गुण रति कस्तूरी कमल नयन मणि अरि मंजारी वृंद की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भगवती पूर्णमासी उमाय देवी की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर सर शिव महादेव की जय। राधा परन कितधाम श्री वृंदावन की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र नीलमार जीव की जय। श्री तत्व गोपीनाथ की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र मंडल नीलाचल धाम की जय। श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय। श्री सिद्ध देवी की जय, श्री जनक महाराज की जय, श्री जनकपुर की जय। जय सर्व विघ्न विनाशन करे भक्त विघ्न विनाश सुरेंद्र सिंह देव की जय। भक्तराज भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्री प्रहलाद लक्ष्मी सिंह की जय। श्री वराह भगवान की जय, श्री वराह स्वामी की जय, श्री लक्ष्मी वराह देव की जय, श्री भूमि वराह देव की जय। जय श्री चरिताम चरि संप्रदाय चर्याचार्य की जय। आकर मतरा श्री चैतन्य मार की जय, श्री गौरीमार वृंद की जय। अनंतरा श्री मार भगवताम भगवद गीता चैतन्य चरितामृत चैतन्य भगवत जैव धर्म अदि सर्व गौरी वैष्णव ग्रंथ वृंद की जय। श्री मुरारी गुप्त श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य चरित्र महाकाव्य की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय, त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन युग धर्म की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल धन्य करे उत्तर ब्रह्म श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे महामंत्र की जय। श्री आनंद करे वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री समकट गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हम परमेश्वर परमा सत्यम पर ब्रह्मन पति पावन प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम स्वयं भगवान जगन्नाथ मिश्र नंदन गौर सुंदर कराधर प्राणनाथ शिव शंबर मिश्र निमाय पंथ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। परमा दयाल श्री नित्यानंद राम महाजान की जय, श्री नित्यानंद हलदार बलराम की जय। श्री शैल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय, श्री मुरारी गुप्त की जय, श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय। शिल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद भक्ति स्नान सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद गौरी वैश्य की जय। श्री मुरारी गुप्त की जय, श्री मुरारी गुप्त श्री पाठ की जय। जय शिव वराह भगवान की जय, जय श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय, श्री बजरंगबली हनुमान जी की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदेवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Hari bol, everybody. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I just saw Sudevi Didi's message. 1 second. Oh, and Shubhananda Prabhu, I just sent you the Gaudiya Darshan. So yesterday we were talking about the Bhakti Bhavan, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house in Kolkata, and how the Kurma Shila that Srila little Bimal Prasad that he worshipped that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him. He gave him the mantra for worshiping this Kurma Shila. And so I have pictures of that. So I'll just share my screen and you can see. I tried, so this is in the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur where his descendants live. They aren't very favorable. They don't allow, as I mentioned, I tried going there twice. I tried going there one time with the boy who took these photos. He went there once before. And so these are the photos. So I don't know like who is who though, but anyways, this is in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. I guess that's the Kurmashila. I don't know though. What is what? There. So funny. Is this like a very simple shelf inside the house? And seems like they're somewhat worshiping them though. That's I heard a lot of members of his family there kind of like yeah, they aren't very they all eat meat and stuff like that. Well, I'm not sure of all of them, but and they they're just not very favorable to the devotees.
I think you mentioned once that someone said, or one of them said, that this is a house, not a temple.
Yes,
Like,
yes, they did. And they said there's nothing to see here. This isn't anything here. Go away. What are you doing here? They were like really they actually started kind of like yelling at us. Yeah.
Maybe they get a lot of disturbances. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they do because on the outside of the house, they put a big tarp also so that you wouldn't be able to recognize it. Because there is a picture of like on Google Maps of the house. And yeah, they put a big tarp on it so that it looks, I think they did that so to make it like people won't be able to find it. They probably do get lots of people coming there. But yeah, but I hear that that house is like ISKCON was recently able to acquire Bhaktivinoda Asan, the original preaching center of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, in number one Ulta Danga Junction Lane. So ISKCON's also working to acquire this place. I think it's in court right now or something like that. And they're trying to settle on, I don't know, something like that. But from what I heard when it seems like ISKCON is definitely gonna get it. It's just gonna take some more time though. So yeah, that would be great when we can finally have darshan. It's in a very strange area though. It's like in a what do you call it? Like a red district? Like there's like prostitutes and stuff like that around, and it's like a very strange area. Yeah,
Red light zone, I think it's what it's
red light
called.
zone. I mean, it wasn't like so extreme, but yeah, it was an interesting area.
Yeah. Permadev is very interesting. Interesting. I think I remember last year, no, this year, Mahavir Maharaj spoke on Bhakti Zoom, and Mahavir Maharaj was saying that Kurmadev is like is like the Ishtadev of like Adbhutaras or like wonderfulment, and it's like
Astonishment.
various things, yeah. And he's supporting the 12 rasas, something like that.
Hmm. Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Hey,
interesting.
you
Yes,
remember the
maybe.
past?
Oh, sorry.
Now let me hear you pro speak.
I'm sorry, I cleared my throat. But no, someone who knows very in depth and is given a tremendous lecture on it is Bhakti Source Sridhar Maharaj, a disciple of Puri Maharaj. And he was in Colombia and he gave a lecture. I translated it. And he knows a mantra too that Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave for the worship of Varaha.
For
Of Kurma.
Varaha, for Kurma, yeah, yeah,
Kurma, sorry. Yes.
yeah.
And yeah, there's some like wonderment. He's like, it's amazing. And just even though he's not physically present, still we have waves. The waves of the ocean and tidal waves are coming from his breathing.
Yeah, was that in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? I remember reading that in our
Yeah,
readings. We were reading that. Yeah, that was in Śrīmad
I think
Bhāgavatam.
when you
Yeah.
were reading, yeah, it was in Bhagavatam. We were in Maui
Amazing.
too, and this kind of surfer devotee kids, they had a turtle, and they brought it to the program, and and so Maharaj was telling them about Kurma, and they were just so amazed, they were so attached to the little turtle, and surfers, they said, wow,
Yeah.
really? And yeah, that energy, all that, the waves are coming, and he goes, Kurmaji.
They brought a turtle to the program?
Yeah, a little one, there was a mascot they had. It was a couple.
So now we know how to preach to surfers. The right thing is to say,
Yeah.
just talk about Kurmadev.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's Krishna is so attractive, so look at all his manifestations. They're so attractive. And there's something for someone.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Very nice.
You
What's
remember?
really Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you were gonna say.
No. You please finish, bro. Please finish.
Oh, yeah, no, it was on the Varaha. on the topic of Naraka is surprising. I mean, you have the son of Krishna himself being instructed by him, and he became a good king, and he was supportive of the Vaishnavas and the gurus and of religion. And what happened? It's his providence. But it's so dangerous, material world, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, so he slipped away like that and became enemy of the devotees. And I don't know if there is more in some Purana about the incident and what happened in detail. Was Bana that he associated with? Yeah. But I don't know much else. Do you?
I have such bad memory. I mean, I don't.
Premananda Prabhu came out with a book on Keshav Vrat, and that pastime is narrated in the Keshav Vrat booklet.
Interesting.
I don't remember the details though.
But yeah, it's very instructive. It doesn't matter how we can't be so confident that we can make close friendships with people who are antagonistic and think that we're not going to get affected. Even just more recently, one of my very close friends who I've like had really deep devotion, like spiritual conversations with, and like who I've now he's kind of like, I'm not even sure if he has faith in bhakti or anything like that now. And it's because he moved away, and his association, he's surrounded by, he didn't have any contact with devotees for a long time, and he had this, and he wasn't keeping up his spiritual practice. And now like that was just like a big shock to me, like a big wake up call. That even
But Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, I read somewhere, and he's so compassionate. We always hear the elephant offense. If you commit offense to Guru, commit to Vaishnava, you're destroyed. But he said he would say something really sweet and compassionate. He said, well, Krishna is not vengeful like that. That would, he said that that devotee will pass long time, in a very hellish condition. And you laugh after life for so long, but there will be a chance again for them, even those who are committed the elephant offense. So his Narakasura got liberated. What a mixture of things, lucky, unlucky. He's the son of Krishna, the son of Varāha, gets instructions directly from Father. Then he falls down. Then he gets killed. And liberated, of course.
That is also another instruction, is just because you have a wonderful birth doesn't mean anything, really. Like the sons of Advaita Acharya, like three of his sons were antagonistic towards the devotees also. And even Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's own children, I don't know the details about his children, but
some were not all. I think about Rini, but she's downstairs. We came late, so apologies, but because we were traveling from Oahu to the Big Island, and I just made it back to my place, and so and she's downstairs, a 3-story place, so she's downstairs. But I think she knows a little more. She's read some books on Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and she has really good memory. Well, we also read his autobiography too, which is some people read it and they get blown away, and they can get a little confused, But we had to, be very cautious and well-intended. I think, and asking always taking anugatya. I think that, we can, cross over this dangerous ocean of material world.
Yes. All right. So well, tomorrow we are going to read about Nityananda rule and yeah,
Oh,
the birth characteristics. And I don't know if we'll read about Nityananda rule meeting with Mahaprabhu tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll be the day after tomorrow that, but
we'll
oh, and
get there.
also it's going to be, let me just look at the calendar 1 second. It's going to be Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj's let's see. It's coming up in
His appearance and disappearance are very close together, as you were saying.
the 5 days in between, yeah, 5 day gap in between. Oh, I need to update my calendar. Anyways, it's coming up very soon. Like I think tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Janardhan Goswami Maharaj is an amazing personality.
Yes. Yeah. But I wanna hear from the book. You were saying.
Yeah, there's a booklet. There's a lot to there's a lot though actually, because also you know Bhakti Vichar Vishnu Maharaj, he published a book called Rupanuga Bhajan. It's a small book. And it is by Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj on what is Rupanuga Bhajan. So it gets really deep into the meaning of Rupanuga. And Padmanabha Maharaj, actually, he's starting today at 11 o'clock. I'm going to go to Keshuji Gaudiya Math, and he's going to start his regular classes again 3 times a week. And that's going to be the topic of his classes is this book by Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj, Rupanuga Bhajan.
What time you have there? You're about 9 a.m.?
Right now it is 8:28. Yeah.
Yeah, 8. It's almost okay. I have 5 p.m. So I don't think I can catch that class if it's 11 or maybe 3 hours. Yeah, might be. Yeah, it won't be too late here.
Yeah, if anybody wants to join that, you can go to his Padmanabha Maharaj's YouTube channel on Facebook. Sorry, why did I say YouTube? I meant to say Facebook channel. And it will be streamed live there. And then I think afterwards, sometime, his disciple Madhavi Didi, she'll post it on like a good quality version on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And so
I was at a lecture.
Classes are going to be on that topic. What's that?
Yeah. No, I was at a lecture by Vishnu Maharaj, and he was speaking. This is like 3 years ago, so sorry, my memory. Something stood out. Like he was so humble. Well, first of all, like Gurudev, I remember he was such a force. He really pushed Gurudev to speak on Rasa Tattva, and and like that, you know, that he was totally unafraid, and that he asked, actually pushed Sri Maharaj to be like that, to speak. That shouldn't be This Sri Maharaj explained to us, if I don't speak this, it's going to be lost and then grabbed by the sahajas, and we'll have a disaster on our hands. So
yeah, we'll be reading about this also when, like, in that booklet that Gurudev put out.
Oh, great.
The booklet that Gurudev wrote, we'll hear like details on this topic.
Yeah, very nice. The other thing that stood out was his humbleness, and he wanted a very small mat, and he had cows, and he would take personal care, and they were wondering why are you doing this? There's other devotees can help you. He wouldn't say, no, we have to practice. After all, we'll be cower boys or cower girls. He was so sweet.
Yeah, and he used to always speak in the feminine form, and like in Hindi, like there's masculine and feminine, and so everything would be in the feminine form.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, out of all, and him and Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj were like best friends growing up, like because they were both children at the time of Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur there, and like classmates, and there's stories of them together. Like, yeah, we could read those also when it comes time.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. I'm all excited.
Yes, me too.
Our Pran Kishore Prabhu, he has a picture of him and Janardhan Goswami Maharaj together.
Whoa.
All right, so we'll see I'll see you all tomorrow. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Pranams Kishore Prabhu, Niri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Shubhananda Prabhu, Ganga Mataji, Manjari Didi, Nitai, Rasaraj Prabhu, Janardhan Prabhu, Sudevi Didi, Raseshwari Mataji. Sorry, I missed you before. Brinda Didi, and everybody else watching. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna.
Dandavats.
Yeah.
Hari Bol.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly tell the pastime of Varahadev, even from the Naveed Mahatmya.
Oh, yes.
Sure. You can do that, and then we'll end.
Sure. I don't remember all the details, though. I just remember that there was a Brahmin boy in Koladev who had so much faith in Varahadev. Varahadev was his Ishtadev. And he got determined that I will take darshan of my Lord Varahadev, even if it's the last thing I do. And then he got the darshan of Varahadev, and Kuladev appeared before him, and he worshipped Varahadev. And Varahadev blessed him, and then he showed him his form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Jai ho. Jai Gaur Varaha ki jai.
Jai ho.
Hari Bol.